Day-to-day life constitutes so much of our lives. We simply just will spend most of our days doing mundane tasks like going to work and going to school and just maybe sitting at home, lying in bed, doom scrolling, rotting, whatever, right? And so, why don't we spend time mastering day to day life if it is so much of our lives? I realized that if I could extrapolate a little bit of joy from the boring things or the mundane things every single day, I feel like that would add up to a lot more enjoyment in my life as opposed to constantly looking towards the future for things I'm excited for or things that are currently out of reach at this point in my life. I truly believe that happiness starts now. Like, I'm not gonna wait until I attain this and this and this to be happy. Like, first of all, it doesn't really work like that. And second of all, why do you need to wait? I feel like now I find myself trying to appreciate the simpler things a lot, like a nice cup of tea or a nice walk, and really just absorbing the scenery of wherever I am. And even if it's this place that I frequent very often, I feel like there's always something to be cherished. Like, I like to look at my city that I've lived in for a very long time, many, many, many years. And I constantly like to think to myself that people come to my city in order to be tourists, and there's a reason for that. Every place is beautiful in its own way, and I think the aspect of novelty obviously adds to that, but it's not a necessary component. You don't need something to be new in order for it to be beautiful. How beautiful it is gonna be the same either way. Perspective and mindset make the biggest difference to how you experience the world because you are the world. Everything you'll ever experience and know is contained in your brain. Everything you're seeing around you is being processed through your eyes into your brain and you're observing it from your brain. The seeing and observing doesn't happen on the object and on the surroundings. To help you illustrate this, I'll give an example. Like, I've heard of plenty of people say, "Oh, I hate living in the city. Like, it's so boring. Like, it's so small, and there's nothing to do." And that's, they're saying that about the same city that I'm living in. Like, we're both living in the same city, right? But my perspective is completely different. Like, I think I love it here. I think there's plenty of beautiful things here and plenty of things to do if you just look for them. I feel like a lot of people limit their ability to enjoy things simply because of their mindset and because of their perspective. And of course, like, it's taken me a lot of effort to get to this point where I am more able to enjoy my day to day life. Like, I used to be quite depressed and I used to think that no, it's never gonna get better. And it's like crazy, right? It's crazy because, like, for a while I'm like, oh, it's never gonna get better, like, nihilism, nihilism. But then, like, it just does at some point, and it's like, you wouldn't have never predicted that from, the previous point in time where you didn't believe that was possible. But things can just change like that, and you can help that happen. The brain is a prediction machine, but it can only predict based off of what it knows. And there is um, let's just say a virtually limitless amount of things that you don't know. Like, I think what helped me the most possibly was that although I kind of believed that I was just gonna feel depressed forever, I also wasn't denying to the fact that it's completely possible that that's gonna not be the case. Who am I to predict the future for myself, right? I truly think that freedom resides within the mind. I mean, literally everything does, so of course freedom resides within the mind. But I guess since learning this, I'd say I'm a lot more infatuated with how I experience the world. I feel like I see my brain as a computer, because it kind of is, right? It's just a fleshy computer instead of a silicon based one. And I know that I will be observing and experiencing this computer slash my brain for the rest of my life. And because I think about myself in this way, I understand that I can change things if I want to in my brain. And of course, it's not as easy as a regular computer where you can just go in and delete some code and add some code, or you can go and manipulate the hardware itself. I mean, in the human brain, you can kind of do that. For example, drugs, they'll do that for you. They'll manipulate the hardware right up. And to some degree, the software analogy would work too. Matter of fact, I think we are actually just like the same as computers. Like it is literally easy to just manipulate the hardware and to manipulate the software. And of course, the manipulating the software is like the more attainable thing because all you need is yourself and I don't know, your ability to think. And I love this so much because you can turn your brain into a very interesting and fun place to be. And that's what I've kind of done, I'd say. Like, whenever I have thoughts that make me feel a little down, I realize I don't need to be thinking in this way. And then I try to switch it up. I try to maybe think the exact opposite of what I'm thinking to overwrite the first thought process. Or, I don't know, go for a walk and just like wait it out. And moreover, I mean, that's why people go to therapy. Like, you have someone there that introduces their perspective and their ideas to challenge your thought processes, and that can help you break your current thought processes, which are presumably doing more harm than good. And I like to do this to myself. I like to question, why are you anxious about doing this thing? And I'm not saying that this fixes every single problem I have, but there's been plenty of instances where I've been anxious or very avoidant of doing a certain thing, and then I make myself do it anyway, and realize inevitably that it's perfectly fine and there was nothing to be anxious about. Because there isn't. Like, I know that I don't need to be anxious about this thing, and so although I can feel like I'm anxious, I just am like, there's nothing that can harm me by just, for example, walking into this cafe that I'm a little nervous to try out for the first time. And eventually, after doing this, slowly over time, you realize that you get better at it, of course, but, you also just get proud of yourself for just simply doing a thing. Like, I remember for a while I would, like, go up to random people in the clubs and try to riz them up, as they say. And I'd be shitting bricks. The first few times I did this, I was like quite anxious. My heart rate was high, blood pressure probably also high. But I try to comfort myself. I think, listen, these people are literally just a clump of atoms. You're just a clump of atoms. We're on a floating rock in an unfathomably large universe. Everything's gonna be fine. And as per the nature of these things, like, you shouldn't count on the outcome, that's for sure. You can't control what the other person is gonna do, or if they're gonna reject you, or I don't know, become the love of your life, right? Like, that's out of my control. I don't worry about that. What I'm concerned about is just trying my best, and so whenever I do things like this, I'd just be proud of myself for just giving it a go. Like, I feel like this type of thing has helped me evolve a lot, where, like, I just try to gain as much experience as I can doing all sorts of things, and it doesn't really matter how it turns out. Like, every single one of those people I tried to quote-unquote riz up never worked out, bro. But that's okay, because I'm doing it for myself, and it allows me to conquer other things in my life. Like, maybe I'm scared of, like, making YouTube videos, but then I know that, like, a good way to stop being scared of making YouTube videos is to just make YouTube videos, like. Anyways, I went on many tangents today, and I hope that it helps you out. I'll do a little summary. So, firstly, master day-to-day life. Try to find little things you enjoy in your day-to-day life. Try to be happy right now, and don't wait for it to, like, fall in your lap at a later date, pretty much. Second thing is that mindset and perspective are kind of everything. Like, the entire world is interpreted through your lens and your brain. If you can change the way that you view things, perhaps you can change your experience of the world and make it more pleasant for yourself, more enjoyable, and cherish more of it. Third thing, the way you can do this is achievable through thinking about yourself as a computer, perhaps, and that you can really change your thoughts over time, of course, but you don't have to think the same way that you've always thought. It's also possible to make changes to the hardware of your brain. For example, I mentioned drugs as an example, but a more simple thing you can do is like eat healthier and like exercise more. Exercising like increases your brain derived neurotrophic factor that increases neuroplasticity and all sorts and whatever. And I guess like for a drug example, like I don't know, shrooms and like ketamine are used to treat depression now. So it's another way that you can do it. But hey, go for the exercise first though, I'd say. Well, that's all I have for you today. Goodbye everyone.